Hello, good afternoon. How you doing, Ellis? It is.
I'm good. Happy New Year, everybody. Sorry.
Man, you can come on for a minute, man. At least you can say
Oh,
hi.
wait a minute. I forgot to take myself out of the screen.
That's okay, man. You can say hi, man.
Well, hello, everybody. This is a great show. We've got a great show planned for today. It is live, as you can see. It is not a recording. This is definitely live.
Ellis is the brains of the organization. He really is. And the beauty.
I had a brain freeze at that moment when I forgot to take myself out of the shot.
That's all right, man.
Well, you're watching the best financial show that you can find on social media. This is Financial Freedom Friday with my man Gus Tucker. If you have not been watching this show, you are missing something. If this is your first time watching, let us know that in the comment section. Share this with a friend. We're about getting you financially independent in 2022 and beyond. That's what the show is about: financial literacy, financial independence. I've already started my journey, and it has been liberating. So please take 30 minutes out today on the last day of 2021, watch this program and get your finances right for 2022. That's it.
That's awesome. That's all. I appreciate it, man. And so, and he hit on a great point. So, I was thinking about this. If you get on track, or if you get on the track, and you just stay on it, guess what? You're going to cross the finish line. And the key thing is to get on track and stay on the track. And you're gonna finish, okay? You're gonna finish. You're gonna win. So this is all about financial independence, and we're gonna summarize real quick the last couple of shows because you have some homework. If you were with us the last couple of shows, if you weren't, you're gonna get the homework recapped real quick, and then we're gonna start covering some concepts, okay? And what we're gonna talk about is creating pathways to financial independence. And we're going to talk about two things today: retirement milestones and the magic of compound interest. So we're just going to go through a quick review, real quick review. So next slide. And what is financial independence? Financial independence is the state of having sufficient personal wealth to live without having to work actively for basic necessities. I was working with a new client yesterday who had a certain amount of expenses that they're going to have. And then we looked at the income that they've got set up through various sources. And you know what? They're going to have more than twice what they need coming in on a monthly basis, right? During their retirement, which is going to start next year. Okay. But then we found some other things that they hadn't thought of that they needed to deal with. So if you take the challenge that we're going to talk about a little bit later, we're going to talk about a financial challenge. If you take that challenge, I'm going to send you two things. I'm going to send you a free ebook. Then I'm going to send you also a financial checklist. Covers about 20 different areas that you should think about when you're going to be working towards retirement. Because there are other things that you need to deal with when you get to retirement, not just do I have enough money coming in. And as we went through this person's eyes were opened up and said, whoa, I got work to do. I got work to do. So the next slide talks about financial literacy. Okay. Financial literacy is all about being competent or having knowledge in a specific area. Financial literacy is learning about how to earn, and we covered that in the first couple of shows, how to earn, spend, and we're on spend right now because we're doing a zero-based budget. How's that zero-based budget coming? Spend, save, manage, and invest. And look where invest came in. Invest came at the end. I had another client call me the other day and say, Gus, I've got some money I need to invest. They told me how much. I said, great. Why? Why do you want to invest this? What's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Okay, so our investments, we need to have a reason why we're doing it, a target. We'll talk about that later, but investing is down the road. We got to get our earning where it needs to be. We got to get our spending where it needs to be. We got to be saving aggressively, managing the whole process, and then investing money is the last step. Now, so what I want you to do is go take the Financial Literacy Quiz Challenge, okay? So you're going to go to this link, How Money Works, Gus Tucker Challenge, okay? take it and then send me your score to that email you see there. Send me your score, and then I'm going to send you a free ebook, and I'm going to send you a checklist. So you can begin to have a really good idea of where you are right now. It's like going to get that annual checkup at the doctor. Okay, now this is the end of December. I hope you did that in 2021. If not, do it in 2022. Ellis and I were just talking about, this coronavirus and Omicron and what's going on and stuff like that. And one of the things we've been talking about in our circles is, wherever you're at on the vaccination piece, do that. My wife and I, got vaccinated and boosted, and she contracted COVID on December 23rd, tested positive. It's been a non-event, praise the Lord, that she's okay, and we're coming out of quarantine coming this Sunday. But vaccinate or not, that's up to you, okay? But take care of yourself by working out, by eating right, by getting your immune system up, by eating good foods and the vitamins and natural things you can do. And this is the same kind of thing. There are some basics that we need to do to be financially healthy. And that quiz will give you a kind of a point in time where you're at. And then that checklist will kind of give you an idea of where you are in some areas, okay? So do that. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no obligation to it. Just check it out. So do that, and then get this book, How Money Works. How Money Works. It's by a guy named Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold. Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold. So the concepts we're talking about come out of this book. The presentation came out of this book. It's one of the books I use in my practice to help my clients, okay, and to give them a place they can go back and refer to over and over and over again. But financial independence is a skill to be learned. It's a skill. It's not like some people have it and some people don't. Hey, not everybody's going to be a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan or whoever. Hey, see,
I want to show people how easy a read this book is. So, because I think sometimes when they see that on the front, it is literally pictures and very, very easy read for you all. You could do it in a weekend. You could do it in a car ride. If you're going to grandma's house, it is something simple, and it breaks everything down and makes it so easy. So please get the book. Stop being a sucker. Go get the book.
Please. Thank you, sir. I kid you not. The book was written specifically at a 6th grade level. Okay. Experts can take the complicated and make it simple. That's what these guys have done. Okay. So get that book, How Money Works. It's on Amazon. You can get it, no problem, okay? Now, financial independence. We've got to create it 3 times, guys. And my wife and I, we're building our dream boards this weekend. We're rebuilding them. First, you have to create in your mind and create a clear picture of what financial independence looks and feels like to you. So what's the amount of money? How do you want to live? What's your lifestyle going to look like? You got to create financial independence 3 times. First in your mind. Okay, first in your mind. Next is on paper. Write out what you see and feel. Record your voice saying what financial independence is, what it means to you specifically, and why you must have it. Your obsessions tend to become your possessions, okay? So in your mind, you're thinking about it, then you want to get it on paper. That's what our dream boards are going to do. They're going to put it on paper. Okay, and if you were looking at my office over here on the wall in front of me, there are all kind of goals, affirmations, and things like that. And my dream board is going right there. Boom. So I'll be looking at it all day, every day. The third thing is taking action on a written plan and make it happen starting right now. My wife and I took a course. We've taken it before. It's called Living Life on Purpose by one of our mentors. It's called Living Life on Purpose. It's a course we took. It's a goal-setting course. So you want to have a written plan, a written game plan. So for today and tomorrow, in the first week of January, my wife and I will be nailing down. We've already been talking about it, but we're going to put more details about our plans. Not just our business plans, but plans for our family. We're planning already where we're going to do Christmas next year as a family. Knock on wood, this COVID thing is taken care of. But you need a plan. Have your plan in writing, have dates and for the levels of accomplishment, okay? So your plan is created 3 times. Next thing is you got to have reasons why. Okay. Many people are going to make New Year's resolutions. And then by February, they jumped off the boat, man. Okay. But what are your 10 reasons why you have to be financially independent? What are your reasons why? What are your reasons why you have to be financially independent? The next thing, the feelings. Man, how would you feel if you were financially independent? What if you had a feeling of peace in your life all the time? A feeling of control, a feeling of worthiness, where you're positive about your future, that you've forgiven yourself from your past failures, you're positive about yours. What if all these things were happening in your life? Man, life is awesome because our life experience is a lot about the emotions we feel and the feelings we have. So what feelings would you want? Okay, so you write those down. And then, so the next thing is a practical step. It's putting together a zero-based budget. We're on a family conference call, and my daughter was talking about how she was doing this, and she found about $200-300 worth of subscriptions. She nickel and diamond her that she wasn't really using anymore, that she cut out of her budget. But you go through your 3 months of bank credit card statements, your financial statements, and really look hard at how you're spending your money, how you're saving your money and investing it. Okay? And determining what's non-discretionary. Okay? Non-discretionary versus discretionary. I got non-discretionary down there twice. I just caught that. So you got non-discretionary and then discretionary spending. Non-discretionary is must-have, basic existence. You got to eat, right? You got to have a place to stay, etc. Discretionary is nice to have. Kind of makes life fun. Now think about this. We should be living on between 40 and 50% of what we bring home. All your living expenses. And I challenge you, when you go through your budget, man, how do you live on that? Exactly. The reason we can't save sometimes is we've got too much going into living expenses and debt and not enough going into savings. So this process is going to force you to take a hard look at where your money's going. And look, a simple $100 saved a month for 20 years is about almost $70,000 at 8%, which is what 8.8%, which is what the stock market has done for the past 100 years. So that zero-based budget, put that zero-based budget together as soon as possible. We're supposed to be already done. It was supposed to be done by Christmas. It's New Year's now. Come on now. Let's get that zero-based budget done. Let's get it knocked out, because all that's going to help us do the rest of the process as we go through this, okay? You do your zero-based budget. And then the last thing is your assignment. What's your assignment? Read the book, How Money Works. Read the book, How Money Works. Develop your 10 reasons and 10 feelings. Complete your zero-based budget and know your percentages. Where's your money going every month? That'll give you a great starting place. Okay? So that's by way of review. So new material for this week. Our masterclass, we're going to hit section 2. Masterclass number 1, section 2. Now, what are we going to cover? Well, this first part of the masterclass is going to cover these concepts that you see on the page. We talked about how financial illiteracy was the number 1 economic crisis in the world. There's 7 billion people on the planet, and 5 billion people are financially illiterate, based on survey. Okay? So the first part we're going to cover is financial illiteracy, and we covered that, the need for financial literacy. The next thing we're going to cover is what Albert Einstein calls the 8th wonder of the world. We're going to cover compound interest. The other things we're going to cover in this part is the time value of money, $1 million baby, which is how to set up your children to be millionaires at birth. You want to set them at birth to be millionaires. And then we're going to cover the rule of 72. Okay? So here we go. Compound interest is the greatest discovery of all time. Albert Einstein. It's the greatest discovery, mathematical discovery of all time. And maybe you've done this before, maybe you haven't. I did this with a client yesterday after a presentation. I told them to take a penny and double it every day for 31 days. I'll take a penny and double it 31 times. It's like 31 days in a month. And see what number you come up with. Man, a penny isn't much money, okay. But look what would happen if you double it every day for 31 days. How much money you would have. That's why, when you look at that, you're going to see why Albert Einstein says, man, this compound interest is crazy important. Okay, the next slide, we're going to talk about your retirement. Because I know everybody's working towards the day when they won't have to work anymore. And you'll need at least 70% of your pre-retirement income to live on. At least. Could be more. Okay? Because if you work for somebody, you're going to have to cover your own health care. You know? If your house isn't paid off, that's still going to be around. If it is paid off, then that's great. But you're going to need at least 70%, probably more of your current income to live on. So how do most people put those numbers together? One, they look at Social Security. But the average Social Security payment is under $2,000. And the highest payment is a little over $3,000. So Social Security was never meant to be the lion's share of the greatest amount of your retirement number. It was designed to cover about 40% of what you might need. The rest of it was to be covered by your personal savings. It used to be we had pensions, but companies found out pensions were very, very expensive and people were living longer. So companies were on the hook for more and more money. That's why a lot of companies either went bankrupt or they just changed and they stopped their pension plans. And I'm sure you know people that happened to them. And they turned it on to what's called a defined contribution plan, better known as a 401k. And after some of these downturns in the market, people's 401k became a 201k or a 101k, okay, because of losing money. So are you on track? Are you on track with your savings? Are you on track with your savings? That's one of the things we're going to talk about. So right now, really, no generation is saving enough. Okay, millennials, which are folks 25 to 40 years old, on average, they saved about $23,000 for retirement. $23,000 for retirement. Okay. Gen Xers are people that are between like 41 and 56. They've saved about $66,000. And we can hit that next slide. $66,000. And then baby boomers, depending on whether it's baby boomers 1 or baby boomers 2, they're between 57 and 75 years old. They've saved $152,000. How much have you saved? Which age group are you in? Are you above or below the median? Check it out. Now, we'll do some quick math. Okay? Married or single. So just, you have to, how much comes into your household every month? Net, not gross, net. How much comes into your household every month? Net. That's a number. Let's call that 100. Now, I want you to think about it. Do you want to live on that amount when you retire? Yes or no? Or do you want to live on more or less? So what's that number? If it's 100, it's 100. If it's more, how much more? 10% more, 20% more, 50% more? If it's 50% more, then the number is 150. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, where's the money going to come from? Real quick, where's the money going to come from? You've only got a few places. Keep working. Money you have saved, you live off the interest. Real estate that you own, or some sort of business or intellectual property that pays you money. Do you have those things in place? Do you have real estate in place? Do you have a large lump sum of savings in place? Do you have a business in place that can pay you? So what's going to make up the gap between Social Security, if you qualify for it, and if it's still around, and the number you need to live on? Where's that money going to come from? Your personal savings and investing, real estate you own, or business? You tell me. Okay? But that's why we're doing this plan, so we know where we're at and where we're trying to get to. You feel me? Okay. Next slide. Will your savings run out in retirement? That's what we're trying. That's what we're going to find out. That's one of the things we're going to find out in this course. We're going to help you figure out what your retirement number is and where it's going to come from. What your retirement number is and where it's going to come from, so you're not surprised. When you're ready to retire, oops, I don't make enough money. When did that happen? Over the last 30 years. So we want to take time to figure that out before it's too late to make any difference in it. Because if, what happens if you don't pay your utilities? Eventually, what happens? They start turning stuff off, don't they? Retirement is like a utility bill. If you don't pay it, stuff starts getting turned off. Okay? So next slide is, will you have a reliable income? Okay, and our goal is, through our time together, that you're on track to have a reliable income. As long as you got breath in your body, you got a chance to make a difference and make something happen, something big. And your future doesn't have to look like your past. If you wanted to, great. But let's keep getting better every day. Make sense? All right, next slide. How do suckers think? The haves and the have-nots. It's the way things have always been, and I guess it's the way things will always be. How do wealthy think? I may not have learned about personal finance in school, but with the right information, the economic crisis of financial literacy doesn't have to be my personal crisis. You don't have to be born rich. Okay? But you can make wealth happen for your family if you're willing to start and not quit. Okay? So, next slide. We can start talking about the power of compound interest. Next slide. Okay, the power of compound interest. So, you can read this slide. It's talking about the growth potential of money over time by leveraging compounding, which is interest paid on your deposits and all the interest paid. There's two kinds of interest. There's simple interest and compound interest. Hey guys, do you know what the National Bank savings rate is? I looked it up right before the class. Do you know what the National Bank savings rate is? Put it in the chat if you know what it is. The National Bank savings rate. In other words, the amount of money they put, the amount of interest they will pay you if you put money in a savings account. Do you know what that number is? Right now it's 0.06. 0.06. So if you had $100 saved and you saved it for a year, you'd make less than a penny in interest. Wow. So let's show you how to get compound interest working for you. You guys ever heard of this guy? Next page, John D. Rockefeller. As a boy, he was like 13, 14 years old. Rockefeller lent $50 to a local farmer. First of all, for him to have $50 was a lot of money. That's like $1,500 today. But he loaned this farmer $50 at 7% interest. A year later, the farmer paid him back his $50 plus $3.50 in interest. Because 7% of 50 is $3.50. About the same time, Rockefeller was hired to dig up some potatoes. For 3 days. For 3 days, he dug potatoes, 8 hours a day for 3 days, and he made $1.12. $1.12. Read what it says here about the obituary. On entering the two transactions in his ledger. First of all, the kid was 14 and had a freaking ledger. Come on now. and we're getting a like zero-based budget we're talking about, that's your ledger. So he was entering these transactions in his ledger. He realized that from working every day for 3 days, he made only a third of what he made by loaning money out to somebody else. He made $3.50 loaning the money out, and he had to do no work versus busting a hump for 3 days and make $1.12. So he resolved he would make as much money work for him as he could. In other words, he's going to be aggressive about saving and investing money. And he said in the next slide, I have ways of making money you know nothing of. Okay? Next slide. You want your money, you working for your money is the number of hours a day that you can work. That's limited. Your money working for you, there's no limit on how much money you can work for you. It's just a result of how much money you put away in the interest rate. Okay? Next slide. There's simple versus compound interest. What's simple interest? In that farmer example, he borrowed $50, right? 7% is $350. So let's say he borrowed that money over a number of years. Every year would just add $350 onto the balance. You know what I mean? $350. But compound interest is I'm going to add 7% of a balance that's increasing every year. Why is that? Because if it was $50, you added $350, now it's $53.50, then $57. Compound interest is paid on that basic interest plus all the interest that's developed after that. So how do you want your money to grow? Compound interest or simple interest? We're going to show you, okay, the power of compound interest. Go to the next slide. The simple interest example, next one. Simple interest. The chart represents a 50-year timeline. 9% simple interest is paid on the $1,500 original loan. So 9% of $1,500 is $135. So every year, $135 is added. And you end up with $82.50. Okay? Let's say you have that same loan, same interest rate, but now it's compound interest. Look at the next slide. Look how much money you got now. $132,000. 16 times as much money. The key is to get compound interest working for you versus working against you. How does it work against you? Credit cards, mortgage debt, automobile debt, any interest you're paying to someone else, compound interest working against you. Because you have to make more money than the interest rate you're paying to get ahead. Next slide. So it's showing you how savings would add up. And it says you open the account up for $500. Every month you add $500 to the account. You do that for 45 years, and the money compounds at a 9% rate. Look how much money you have. You only put $270,500 into the account. But in 45 years, it's worth $3.7 million. Where did that $3.4 million come from? That's interest. OPM, other people's money. How did you get that? How did you get that interest into your account? Because you were wise enough to put that money in an instrument that either invested or loaned it out to people that paid you profit. So how would you, over that 45 years, like to have that money added to your account? I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's worth about $150 million. He says this year he's going to make about 19 million, 20 million bucks. And over half of that is going to come from his assets, not him working. About 6 or 7 is going to come from what he does as a business, but the rest of it is going to come from his assets. That's how you want to do things. Next slide. So after 45 years, Whose account is worth more, Sarah or TJ's? Here's the case study, and we'll be closing down. Sarah opens up a savings account. This is straight out of the book with $50,000. So Sarah put 50 grand in an account. TJ opens up the same kind of account, but he's only got $500 and then adds $500 a month. Both accounts earn 9% interest. After 45 years, who's going to have the most money? Somebody who opened with 50 grand, they're getting 9% every year, or somebody opened with 500 and added 500 to it. Well, let's look and see. Sarah starts out with 50,000 but doesn't add any more money. So look at what Sarah adds up. 2.8 million. Ain't bad. But look at what happened with TJ. He ends up with 3.7 million. He started out with 500, added 500 a month, got the same interest rate. See that little black box down there? Read what that says. Regardless of how much you start with, consistent savings each month can make a big difference. So for some of you that are younger, time is on your side. You got to start saving aggressively and investing aggressively so that money will grow over time. Okay, if you're older, we're going to talk about some strategies. Hey, I ain't got that much time. We got some strategies. Start late, finish rich. There are strategies you can undertake, but you're going to have to be more aggressive. I didn't say take more risk, but you're going to have to be more aggressive personally to make those things happen. Okay? Does your rate of return matter that much? Does it matter that much? Most people don't even know what their rates of return are. Yeah, it matters a whole lot. Look at the next slide. Look at the following growth curves. Each reflects $178 added each month to a monthly compound account, beginning at age 25 and then going to 67. In other words, same account, same amount of money, same time period. Observe the difference when your compound interest rate is just a few points higher. So let's look at that slide. Look what happens at 1%. You got $111,000. If you just get 2% more, it's $179,000. So the difference between 1 and 3%. 1 and 6%. You got 400 grand. And then you got 9%, $1 million. Why do they keep using that 9%? Because the stock market on average, the S&P 500, has averaged about 8.8% return. Rounding up, that's 9%. So if at age 26, you had just taken that $178 and put it into an index fund in the S&P 500, when you're ready to retire, you'd have $1 million. How many people do you know that do not have $1 million? Probably a lot. So you know what we know they did not do? They didn't take $178 and put it away every month and get that 9%. So your rate of return makes a big difference. Okay, next slide. How suckers think. I worked hard for my money, so I just want to put it away and keep it as safe as possible. How the wealthy think. I've worked hard for my money, so now it's going to work for me as hard as possible. So what we're going to be doing as we work together is strategies for how to get your money to work harder for you. Next slide, and we're done. So what are your assignments? Read the book. Develop your 10 reasons and feelings for wanting financial independence. Complete your zero-based budget. Know your percentages where your money's going. Now, here's the other thing. Do that checklist. Do that checklist and see how many things you check off that you need to do. We're going to be answering all those questions as we get together on Fridays. Every question on that checklist, we're going to answer it. We're going to show you how to handle those things. Okay? So please tell your friends and family about this time together on Fridays. Get them here. So as a family, you can begin developing this wealth mentality mindset. We had a 2-hour call. We have 3 kids. One of them's birthday was the 27th of December. One was the 31st. One is next March. and we were talking about the things that we're doing as a family. One of my children owns real estate, and they're planning to buy more properties. One of my child is a business owner. She owns a business. One of my children, he's a professional, but he's also an investor. He just did some angel investing. Okay. And we had a 2-hour conversation about, as a family, how we're going to create wealth together. And say they know what their mom and I are doing, and we know what they're doing, and we're working together to make this happen. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, thanks for tuning in. See you next Friday. Ran over a little bit, but you guys hang in there, okay? Have a great 2022, and we'll see y'all next Friday. Okay? God bless.